Welcome to Calming Harp, the sounds of David's Psalms. I'm glad you've joined us for this brief moment we share together. I will be playing some of the music that has been brought out of the Psalms. My name is Steve Rees. I play the harp, and over the last several years I've been bringing the sounds of David's Psalms into recordings. You can find a lot of my music on my website, www.calmingharp.com. I have CDs available and MP3s. And you can go to YouTube. If you go to YouTube and then type in Peregrinati, Peregrinnatti, you will find hours of beautiful harp music that you can just play in the background and be calmed with the music that David may have played for his sheep at one time or another. So as we share this half hour, join me and enjoy the sounds of David's harp. Well, good morning. This is episode number 77. Kind of appropriate that we also in this episode are going before our Heavenly Father with the music of the Ark of the Covenant. So we've been going through the tabernacle, and at each of the stations we've had a work to do to prepare us for this final stage of actually coming before our Heavenly Father, for Him to meet our God. And in preparing for this, I received an email from Pastor Steve Holt, who is the pastor of the Way at Chapel Hill, the Road at Chapel Hill. The Road at Chapel Hill in Colorado Springs. I like to keep up with his teachings. He's always has some good stuff to say. And I thought this was really appropriate because he's talking about praise stirs up God's Spirit on our behalf. And he started out by referring to Isaiah 42:10 through 13, where Isaiah writes about the very thing that arouses God's Spirit. And the first thing we note is in verse 10, sing to Adonai, Yahweh, a new song, and his praise from the ends of the earth. Let the wilderness and its cities lift up their voices. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give glory to Yahweh and declare his praise in the coastlands. And then goes to the result of our praise. When we do that praise, what happens? Yahweh shall go forth like a mighty man. He shall stir up his zeal like a man of war. He shall cry out, yes, shout aloud. He shall prevail against his enemies. And by the way, his enemies are our enemies if we're on his side. And then this, he refers to this stunning imagery of a God who is zealous, ready to fight on our behalf. You could say that God is fired up when he hears our praise. He becomes the man of war on our behalf, a mighty warrior. Now, this is not the image that most churches, I'm quoting from Steve right now, this is not the image that most of our churches portray of God. The biblical God is more like the General Washington fighting for freedom against the English than the American God of Mr. Rogers making friends in the neighborhood. No, our God is more like a lion, like Aslan in the classic children's story Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And then he quotes from C.S. Lewis, a little back and forth between Susan and the Beaver. Aslan is a lion, the great lion. Oh, said Susan, I thought he was a man. Is he quite safe? I shall feel rather nervous about meeting a lion. Safe? Said Mr. Beaver. Who said anything about safe? Of course he isn't safe. But he's good. He is the king, I tell you. He is the king. And it's interesting because, C.S. Lewis used the Lion of Judah and translated that into Aslan in this story. But that is kind of a description of our God to help us understand he is quite dangerous, but he's good. If we are on his side, if we are committed to his ways, then he promises that we will have life and not death, and we will have blessing and not cursing. But he's capable of both. And so at the end of the day, the decision is up to us. And so what makes the difference in this equation? What is the variable? I remember in my math classes, we would get these equations, and then there was a variable entered into that equation that could change. And every time the variable changed, then the answer changed. All of the other numbers stayed the same, but the variable changed. And that's the way it is with our Heavenly Father. And that variable is praise, at least in this case. Praising God, it stirs up his zeal on our behalf. And frankly, in today's world, I feel like I really need his zeal on my behalf. And so I'm going to play a little bit of, I'll go into playing the music of the Ark of the Covenant. And as it winds down, then I have one of the Psalms that I'll be sharing with you, and some comments. And so let's get into some of the music here. So that is the music coming from the tabernacle as we stand before the Ark of the Covenant in the Shekinah presence of our Heavenly Father. And at that point, we have taken care of business, and we can now stand confident before Him as the same as Aslan. Yes, he's dangerous, but he's good. And he's there on our behalf. In Psalm 31, David is kind of reflecting those thoughts in a different way. In you, O Yahweh, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in your righteousness. Incline your ear to me. Deliver me speedily. Be a rock of refuge to me, a house of defense to save me. For you are my rock and my stronghold. For your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Bring me out of the net which they have hidden for me, for you are my stronghold. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Yahweh, El of truth. I have hated those who observe lying vanities, but I trust in Yahweh. I exult and rejoice in your loving commitment, for you have seen my affliction. You have known the distress of my life, and you have not shut me up into the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a large place. Show me favor, O Yahweh, for I am in distress. My eye, my being, and my body have become old with grief. For my life is consumed in sorrow, and my years in sighing. My strength fails because of my crookedness, and my bones have become old. I am a reproach among all my adversaries, but most of all among my neighbors, and a dread to my friends. Those who see me outside flee from me. I have been forgotten like someone dead from the heart. I have been like a missing vessel, for I hear the evil report of many. Fear is from all around. When they take counsel, they get together against me. They plot to take away my life. And this is somewhat a messianic psalm as well, as you can see, even where it says, where he said that in your distress I cried, show me favor. Into your hand I commit my spirit. Yeshua said those very words on the cross, and I think maybe he was possibly quoting from the Psalm 31 when he said that. I imagine that he was quoting some of the Psalms to himself as he was hanging there with the last few breaths of his life. But I have put my trust in you, O Yahweh. I have said, you are my Elohim. My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and from those who pursue me. Make your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your loving commitment. Do not let me be ashamed, O Yahweh, for I have called upon you. Let the wrong be ashamed. Let them be silenced in Sheol. Let lips of falsehood be stilled, which seek recklessly against the righteous with pride and scorn. How great is your goodness, which you have laid up for those who fear you, which you have prepared for those taking refuge in you, in the sight of the sons of men. In the secrecy of your presence you shall hide them from the plots of man. You shall shelter them in a booth from the strife of tongues. Blessed is Yahweh, for he has made marvelous his loving commitment to me in a strong city. And I have said in my haste, I am cut off from before your eyes. Yet you heard the voice of my prayers when I cried out to you. Love Yahweh, all you, his lovingly committed ones, for Yahweh guards the trustworthy ones and exceedingly repays the doer of pride. Be strong and let him fortify your heart, all you who are waiting for Yahweh. What a marvelous promise that is to us, all you who are waiting for Yahweh. And I think as, I continue on this theme of as the world turns dark, we turn towards Him. That's our only answer out of this trouble that we find ourselves in the middle of. As we read the news headlines, as we see what's going on, our only answer is to turn to our Heavenly Father. I also wanted to mention to you that I was able to do an interview on TNT Radio this last week, and I'm going to put a link to that if you want to listen to it. It was about an hour interview. I was pleased. I wasn't sure what to expect. It's a radio program that comes out of Australia, but it's on the internet, so it's available everywhere. And the fellow that was interviewing me is a musician, and got to share with him some of my thoughts and my discoveries of the Psalms and the music and the Hebrew letters and the notes. And I think it was a good interview. And so if you want to listen to that, I've got the link to that you can click on and go over there. But I just wanted to underline today that our Heavenly Father, the whole process of this tabernacle journey is so that we can come before our Heavenly Father. Remember, He said, "Let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them." And as I have said repeatedly, we don't have the sanctuary in presence today, and if we did, there would probably be a huge line trying to get in. But the amazing thing is our Heavenly Father gives us the opportunity to daily go through the tabernacle stations, each piece of furniture, and do our business with Him and shut the enemy down who accuses us of things we have done. Yes, we have sinned. We have fallen short. We have iniquity been twisted in our lives. But each time that happens, we can come through the tabernacle in this process of renewal, regeneration, restoration, so that the final step is to come into His presence and to be declared righteous in His eyes, because the blood of Yeshua has been shed on our behalf and covers those things that the enemy is trying to accuse us of. Remember, Yeshua said, "I didn't come to condemn." It's only the enemy that condemns. And he can condemn us, rightfully so. It's what we have done or not done. But that's not where it ends. That's not where the story ends. The story ends when we come before our Heavenly Father. And as the Beaver told Susan in the story, yes, he's very dangerous, but he's very good. And I would just like to leave you with those thoughts as you enter your next week, that our Heavenly Father is the roaring Lion of Judah, and He is roaring on our behalf. So be encouraged in your week. Blessings. So I hope you've enjoyed our time together. Stay tuned, as I say. Little pun. I have many more songs to share with you. I have more to share about how this all comes together. And I pray that you will share and help people, especially those you see stressed, especially in these times that we're going through. Bring people to this calming and this peace and this rest that this beautiful music of the Psalms of David brings to each of our lives. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you next week. Many, many blessings to you all today.